On est très honorés. Merci d'être là.
Non, c'est moi absolument qui est honoré. Je suis vraiment ravi d'être ici.
So Mika, you're back in Montreal. Like André says, you have a place in the Montrealers' heart. You've spent time in Montreal because you've recorded here. I think it was in 2011. What are your marks in Montreal? What it's like for you to be back here?
You know, it's funny because Montreal is one of those cities that when you first arrive to it, especially in the dead of winter, you're like, well, what the hell have I done? Because it's so cold, and it's a city that reveals itself slowly, you know, especially in winter, things are hidden behind closed doors. And then very quickly, it's somewhere that kind of found a place in my heart, because I think maybe it's also the fact that my father is American, but he grew up everywhere. I grew up partly in Paris. I speak French. I grew up, my whole family's in New York. So even just kind of like, you know, the mixture of the Francophone mixed with the kind of North America, that kind of thing, I instantly felt comfortable here. In Quebec, and mainly in Quebec, they're so adamant about establishing a sense of Quebecois culture because Quebec refuses to be that kind of, you know, in the shadow of the United States, and neither will it be the kind of lesser cousin of French culture. And so therefore it provokes a lot of cultural excellence and a lot of experimentation, which I think we've seen, you know, from cinema now to theater to, you know, like Robert Lepage, one of my biggest heroes, and even in music. So I don't know, it's a kind of place which is, for a creative, is very, very, very welcoming.
You've just released this album, No Place in Heaven. There's a great range of emotion. It's diversified. It's not the same energy at your first album, Life in Cartoon Motion. Tell us about the title. It's kind of dramatic. No Place in Heaven. What does it mean to you?
It's, well, No Place in Heaven. It's kind of, it's. In a way, it makes you wonder why. And it makes you want to know why a guy at 31 years old is saying there's no place in heaven for me, but does it with a big smile. And I think it's kind of a liberating title. It's about not living, it's kind of shaking off this concept of shame or aftermath and kind of wrestling with the concept of living in the moment a little bit more.
The last album, it takes us, as I said, to through different emotions. It's sometimes really dramatic and sometimes more colorful and light. I was wondering, in what state of mind was it composed?
In a bubble. I got a house, rented a house in Los Angeles, and I brought musicians to it. I rented a piano, bought a computer, and we stayed there for 3 months. And it was like a little factory. There was we recording and writing in the living room, eating and cooking in the kitchen, different musicians coming round, waiting in the garden, and then the next round would come in. Just constantly writing. Didn't leave the house except for about 4 times during that entire time. It was really in this total bubble. I wanted to write a record that felt like it was in a bubble.
Would you care to do that for us at some point?
To curate?
Yeah, well, to curate a concert series or something.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah?
Of course. Okay. That would be awesome. I mean, if I had to curate, who would I put? I would put Rufus Wainwright with a male vocalist choir. Mm-hmm. I would put Melody Gardot with a small Baroque orchestra. God, it would cost a lot of money, wouldn't it? I would put Angelique Kidjo versus Stromae. I would put the Kronos Quartet with me, of course. I would put, what else would I do? I love the idea of experimentation in a festival. Yeah. Because in every experimentation, you're always going to have a kind of a certain amount of things that don't work. But in a festival, that's okay.
Votre propre éducation musicale fait quand même surface dans pas mal toute votre musique. Et c'est fascinant de voir évoluer d'un album à l'autre comme ça. Et quand vous revenez en concert et quand vous faites des trucs exceptionnels comme avec l'orchestre, pour un orchestre, vous aviez pris les percussionnistes de l'orchestre. D'ordinaire, je trouve les percussionnistes d'orchestre beaucoup trop mous pour faire le genre de musique que vous faites avec l'énergie, et pourtant vous les avez fait travailler comme il faut, parce que ça a sorti d'une façon vraiment très, très forte, très appuyée.
C'est drôle, pour la percussion, on a eu des conversations très drôles, parce qu'on se disait, mais lui aussi, et on était complètement d'accord que si, par exemple, dans la musique de Stravinsky, le rythme peut être aussi prononcé et aussi dramatique, pourquoi est-ce qu'on ne peut pas prendre cette attitude de faire ça avec Love Today? Alors, on se disait, ok, on va vraiment oser à faire des trucs, mais il faut c'est faire l'aspect de percutif dans une version orchestrale, on dit ça, dans une version symphonique d'une chanson, c'est le résultat des harmonies aussi, c'est le résultat des woodwinds. Il y a tellement d'ingrédients qui doivent fonctionner ensemble pour créer un rythme bien efficace et bien clair. Et donc, avec Love Today, par exemple, quand on l'a fait au concert symphonique, il y avait beaucoup d'atonalité. C'était pas toujours très, très doux. Il y avait toujours un clash. Et donc, rythmiquement, ça fonctionnait. Parce que c'était très important de rester très fidèle aux couleurs et aussi aux textures et avec les ingrédients et les limites d'un orchestre symphonique.
Sur cette excellente réponse, on vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci Mika.
À plus tard.
Merci.